Join us for a driving review of the Tesla Model S with the Raven update. Let's go! In the front you can see this closed grille design. Of course, electric vehicle doesn't need so much cooling right there. Sleek and elegant lines, not too much playing around. And here the daytime running light, they are right there. The length is at 4.98 meters, 16'3" or 196 inches. Midnight silver is the color for today. But you can also have some more colors, but overall their choices are somewhat limited. But I think that's also good for the customer because it doesn't take much time to configure any Tesla. That's actually helpful, I think. 19-inch wheels or 21-inch wheels. These are the silver 19-inch wheels, and you can alternatively get the 21-inch in black. But here I think a more elegant styling than with the silver wheels. And when you go for the smaller wheels, it's also more comfort. Talking about comfort, the Raven update has brought new air suspension upgrades, so the air suspension is now more comfortable than before. We'll find out more while driving. The rear design is somewhat timeless. You can also see that the wing lip is, so to speak, seamlessly formed right here, and also with the tail lamps still look modern. It says dual motor because we have one motor in the front, one in the rear. The front motor has been replaced with a more efficient one that was taken from the Model 3 from the rear there. So that's why even more efficient now, and also overall better power update here with the Raven model. That's also why it's called Raven, because this electric motor is called Raven that was developed in the Model 3. As for the performance figures, here with the Long Range Plus model, 3.8 seconds to 1 kilometers an hour or 3.7 seconds to 60 miles an hour. And just the performance model then that's also available is about 1.3 seconds faster. Battery, however, both the same for Long Range Plus and the performance model, 100 kilowatt hours gross or 98 kilowatt hours net. And this will deliver some great range figures, especially now with this efficiency upgrade. And the charging flaps right here hold the rear of the key, and then it also opens like this. And 11.5 kilowatt AC charging, or at the supercharger up to 250 kilowatt DC. And maximum range of 650 kilometers or 400 miles when you drive slowly. Or we tested more autobahn speeds, and then you can at least still score some 300 miles or some 490 kilometers. Inside of the doors, all covered with leatherette, good build quality. And then here the inside also leatherette seats, so the seats all animal free at Tesla in every single Tesla model in black, white or beige. These stylings are available. Today the black one, and is a very clean cockpit setup. That's the cool thing for sure. And here with the matte bright wood today, just the beige interior would have even brighter wood. Getting inside, nice and easy entry. The Model X as SUV has the advantage that it has a more upright seating position, where here the Model S more has this lower seating position. Interior overview, clean and impressive, straight lines, high-grade leatherette use. Not yet for the steering wheel, it has a heating function. And for the Model S and for the X, it is animal skin, whereas the Model 3 and the Model Y is already also leatherette at the steering wheel, so it's the only animal part remaining in this interior here at the steering wheel, but they also want to change it for the future. But here you can also see high-grade leatherette, and everything feels very nicely, and the build quality has been constantly upgraded as well. Mostly buttonless, steering wheel just with a few controls, so more details to that. 17-inch screen, vertical way is still really impressive. Here in the digital instruments, very clear and easy, everything to read, to speed. The left side, for example, what music is playing at the moment, left lower part for the range. Right side then for the energy consumption. There you can see also how it plays a role if here I drive rather slowly and can be super efficient. like 12 kilowatt hours in 100 kilometers, or here, if there's more motorway involved, 23 kilowatt hours in 100 kilometers, and then of course there's the average. And I can also easily put that, and that's also a cool thing about the system, to the miles figures. And then you can see here, again, here about 35 kilowatt hours on 100 miles as for the higher motorway consumption. Cool. And also with the voice control, activate steering wheel heating. So that's straightforward, works very well. It's really tough to fit this vertical screen in a 16:9 camera. This is here the satellite view, of course, really impressive, and also quite fast if you compare it to other brands, for example. Then the driving selection here, this is probably most important. You can switch the acceleration modes. We will talk about that, how that differs. Actually also the steering mode, how much resistance you want in the steering and so on. And display choice, for example, also with the brightness and so on, or just the auto brightness. So you can control so many interesting things here. Air suspension has received an update, but you can also put it more to comfort or sport, depending on your liking. So many things you can really individualize right here, but the most things will just be fine if you leave them as they are from works. Lower console, here again with a nice matte wood, and you can slide it open. And then here now you have the cup holders. You can also adjust them, but that's, I think, a good setup for 2 big bottles, for example. And then just behind it is then the inductive charging pad for your phone. Getting in the rear, and it's a full-size sedan. You sit relatively low here also, and you can see here the angle of my legs not ideal, so the bench could be formed a little bit differently, that, you know, there's not too much space right here, so it's not the most comfortable, ideal situation for tall Ls in the rear. Legroom is, however, no problem, but again, I think the whole bench could be, yeah, maybe a little bit longer and higher, for example. Opening in the trunk, for example, works like this. Double click here on the key, and then you can open it, and you can source your charging cables right there, either in the front or in the rear, but that's possible. Here, for example, you know, for the normal AC stations when you're not at the supercharger, or also here with the household plug and so on, but definitely practical to have that here. Trunk area, 28 cubic feet or 804 liters. Here this cover, you can also easily remove that, of course. Then the standard length here would be 1 meter 15, and this is a meter now, and that's here in width right here. So very well to use. You can see here a cabin trolley also fits easily in a vertical way. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge, Tesla Model S, Long Range Plus. Still, we put it to the standard acceleration mode, so they have a little bit more acceleration. So, and we show you acceleration because even this one, being not the performance model, already this one has so much torque and speed, and we will wait until we can safely pass onto the motorway, because as soon as I hit this accelerator pedal, everyone else will go nuts. As do we. 20 kilometers an hour, let's go. That's 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. Really impressive. Wow. That went so quick. So impressive once again. Of course, when you have the performance model in the ludicrous mode, it's absolutely insane. But this one is already so fast. You do not need the performance model to perform a harsh acceleration. This one is way more than enough. And that's also the reason I usually, even here in the non-performance model, put it to the chill acceleration mode, because it's just too much for your body to take, and you don't have like the, you know, sound resonance. You know, you don't exactly cope with what's happening, you know, so it's just too fast. And if you then think about the upcoming Plaid model, which is like 2.1 or seconds, or 2 seconds and for the miles, to 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, this will be out of this world, definitely. But here already, what a strong acceleration. And what you also heard, I mean, we were going 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour, and sound insulation wise, it was totally fine. And this is the thing about the Raven update we already experienced at the Model X. Here, one advantage for the Model S. The Model S is even more silent at higher speeds because of the building style. Somehow, the Model X just higher. And this is a really, really cool thing. So, the Raven update massively improved the noise insulation at high speeds. So far, we could always say, Tesla has a great concept and they do this good and this better and this better. But however, the Germans, more suspension comfort, they're way more silent and high motorway speeds. This is diminishing now bit by bit. So, before I was really saying okay, long-term driving a Tesla Model S or X with 140 kilometers on the motorway, 150 kilometers on the motorway, 80, 90 miles an hour, not that pleasant. Rather take a Mercedes E-Class for that or so. And now I have to say, no problem. At any time, I would also take this one here for higher motorway speeds now. Actually, no problem. Just with the energy consumption, there's the official range here for this one, 650 kilometers or 400 miles. And you can reach that if you have predominantly slow driving and city driving. However, if you consider standard motorway speeds and keep it at cruise control, it's more, once again, about 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers or 32 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. And here, good steering, really precise, nice feeling in the steering. So it's really, without any dead zone area here, really good. And it's not a small vehicle, but it still feels light, low center of gravity due to the battery pack, good concept, good building platform of this car, and the interior quality has been improved bit by bit here as well. And here, just a lot of fun. Suspension upgrade was really nice with an air suspension upgrade. Difference here to the Model 3 definitely. Here in the Model S, we do have the air suspension. That is definitely more comfortable. The suspension is, to me at the moment, the biggest weakness of the Model 3. Also great vehicle and definitely better price performance. This one is way more expensive. But here the air suspension does bring more comfort. So, and now one more acceleration where we are already at speed. And I just put in the standard acceleration mode again that we can show that properly. So when I start at about 85 kilometers, let's go. That's again 180 kilometers an hour. Wow. And this beeping sound, by the way, was again a warning because I was still in the autopilot and then starting the acceleration. So you could also turn it off before. And here once again, the improvement of the noise insulation is great. There are still more silent cars, yes, but here at 170 kilometers an hour, stable on the road, with this weight it has. Also when I do a lane change at higher speeds, it's really precise. You have to, pay attention to don't over-erect because the steering wheel is very, very direct. So pay attention to that. And when we then go to a more normal motorway speed, here 140, 130 kilometers an hour, or like 90 miles or something, that's a really, really calming down, good noise insulation. And most people worldwide won't have these German motorway speeds, and then it's really, really silent. So once again, this update for the vehicle, so great to have that. So when I really think about when I drove this vehicle for the first time, I was so impressed with the car back then, 2012 I think it was. That so much has been done meanwhile that it's really, although it's basically the same car and still so impressive as the vehicle as it is, even more refined right now, bit by bit they improved it, and that's really, really cool to see the development of this vehicle. So, and meanwhile we really have to say that the advantages the German premium manufacturers have, that they more and more diminish. So that's a tough thing to swallow for the German automotive industry. But once again, great acceleration, noise insulation is now good. The air suspension upgrades is that you really feel more comfort. At the same time, it's not too soft, so you can have good lane changes also at higher speeds. That's well done. And now the conclusion of the Tesla Model S in the current status here with the recent Raven upgrade long range plus model. I think this is also the Model S to go for. It already has more than enough performance. The performance model, I mean, with the bigger wheels and even more performance, it will be less comfortable, so to speak. But in any case, with the Raven upgrade, with the suspension upgrades and also the better noise insulation, it's way more comfortable than before. You can easily also drive it with higher speeds at Autobahn and so on the motorway. So this, evens out this distance it had in some areas to the German premium manufacturers. Still a very likable, timeless styling for sure. And yeah, just the highest range we have at the moment on the market. And of course, when you drive higher speed motorway, it will go down, but still you can, if you like, reach the 400 miles or 650 kilometers of this range. But then again, if you drive more motorway, as I said earlier, more towards 300 miles and about 500 kilometers, but that's still a lot, definitely. To me, most important upgrade indeed, the noise insulation, that's really cool. And also the interior has become even more refined. Very well usable, a lot of space on the interior, and just a unique driving concept and also the unique interior concept. So I think at this size here, in the full-size sedan market, still one of the best choices there is. And of course also their very consistent strategy not to use animal skin on the seats, beginning from 2017. In summer 2017 they changed it all, and the Model Y and the Model 3, they are both completely animal-free. Here with the S and the X still have the issue with the steering wheel, because there's also the heated steering wheel offering, but that is also being worked on. So the manufacturer that is most consistent in the sustainability approach. And the next step, of course, would be to reduce even some critical materials for the battery use. But I mean, they already have cut the lithium use in half for the battery cells, so also progress in this respect. So once again, although it's not the newest car, it still somehow feels new, especially with the most recent upgrade. And, there's also the performance model. We have a review of that too. Even more speed, even better acceleration, really impressive. And there will be the Plaid model, which is going absolutely crazy for the acceleration. It will have a second rear electric motor, then overall 3 motors. And when this is out, of course, we will serve you with a full review. See you there.